Hello and welcome back to the Peak Endurance podcast. I'm your host, Ron Tate, and with me is
Isabel Tate.
Isabel Tate, my lovely wife.
Yeah. Yes, I did pay him to say that.
I'm contractually obliged.
That's right. Exactly. You're only allowed on the podcast if you're nice to me. Dearie me. So here we are, another day, another podcast. And it's a day late because
life.
Life. It just was busy and
Yeah.
I've been really tired and yeah.
That's funny. Why have you been tired?
Gee, I don't know. Maybe because I did a 100K race.
100Ks.
Which, when I was doing them once a month, it was like, well, I mustn't be tired. I can keep going. But, I pushed a bit harder. So.
That's right. When you were doing the multiple, the 7.
You had to go slow and,
you were pacing yourself.
Well, I didn't actually have a choice.
Yeah.
I was stuffed.
Yeah.
And I would start a race stuffed. The wind's blowing that door.
I'll be right back.
Ron's closer. That's the only reason. Thank you. Yeah. So, I was running super slow because I was fucked.
Yeah.
But my body was, I could barely run in a coordinated fashion, let alone.
Yeah. And then also every event you went into knowing that you had to do it again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
which was
you
really motivating.
You never went right to that well.
No, I couldn't. Although probably one of them that I did was Buffalo because that was really hard. I remember being really.
Yeah, but that was also because you did 100Ks the very week before.
Yes, true.
I think that probably played the bigger part in how you were feeling.
Yes, true. But yeah, and Switzerland was pretty hard too. But
two 100 races in
a week.
Well, essentially a week. Yeah,
a week. That was madness. Madness.
So of course you would recommend that to all your clients.
Oh, absolutely not.
Oh,
it's horrible. And if you're considering it, I get it because when I came up with the idea, it was like, that sounds really awesome. That sounds so cool. And I understand that people kind of think, oh, that sounds kind of cool. Can I tell you right now, it's not. It's shit. And your life just revolves around doing those races. So if you're wanting to do 100K every month for a year, just be willing to give up your entire life, all your money, your sanity, and your health.
Yeah.
So well worth it. Not.
Yeah, that's right. And as soon as you stopped, your body, you got sick. Your body just.
Oh my God, I was just screwed. I could barely, you could see my running form was terrible all the time because my body was so stiff and sore. I was getting a massage constantly. Well, massages, but there's only so much a massage can do. You can't completely reverse all the damage.
Yeah. And
I was eating and I was doing all the right things. But there comes a point where you just can't mitigate that injury. And injury is what you're doing, injury that you're causing to your body. And like I said, it just sucks the life out of life. Truly, it made living hard, let alone running. And living was hard because financially it was huge. And because I decided they were all going to be races, because I think if you're going to say you're going to do a 100-kilometer race a month, just doing 100 kilometers around your local streets is not a race. Right? It's different doing 100Ks a month than doing a 100K race a month.
Yeah.
A race is an organized thing. You've got to be there at the right time. You've got to travel because the travel and everything adds to the fatigue. If I had just said I'm going to run a 100K course once a month, that's different. I could have just run out my front door.
Yeah.
That's different.
That's right.
With the travel and all that sort of stuff, that adds a whole nother level. So that's why I included that because, it makes it hard.
Yeah, and we did, you did an event in Brisbane, and then we went.
Oh my God, and it was so hard.
Adelaide.
And I'm working during all this time, of course, working on my business as well as, which is a full-time job, as well as teaching. I was teaching about 3 days a week. So that's I was, working a lot of hours trying to do. It was not fun.
Yeah.
So, if you have a full-time job, it's close to impossible and it just burns you out. And it sounds like an awesome challenge because I thought, that's a cool challenge. I can do this. I recover well. So that's what we're going to be talking about is recovery.
Yeah. So, but just getting back to this last race, you worked up to it. You
tapered
properly.
3 weeks. Yep. And, and that was what I wanted to do was I wanted to do another race, actually putting some effort in.
Yeah.
You know, like obviously I'm not going to be as fast as I was when I first started hundreds back in 2012, which was 12 years ago, you know, 12 years younger. That actually makes a big difference between 42 to 54. Can I tell you, once you get in your 50s, everything gets that little bit harder. And in your early 40s, you're still quite young, so to speak. And yeah, it's a whole different ball game once you get over about 48, 49, if you ask me, right? For a competitive level. For just general level, probably not much difference. But if you're wanting to be competitive, your body changes a lot. And I can tell the big changes in my body from when I was competitive in those younger days to now. I mean, younger, 42 is not really that young, but you know what I'm saying.
It's still 12 years ago.
So, but what I wanted to do was to put in the same effort. It may not be the same pace, and that's fine, but put in that effort level and have that drive and to do my absolute best. Because in my life, I like to do everything to the best of my abilities. I'm not into half-assed efforts for anything, which means my clients always get the best of me. Everything I do to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
Right? Which is why I don't clean the house anymore. Because I know I'm just going to do a shit job.
So, you know, so you actually went into it
Yeah.
focusing on it and focusing on executing.
Being fully rested, recovered, carb loaded, do all the right things like I used to do, rather than with that challenge where it was just like, oh, whatever, just jog it out, you know. And so, you know, I did, so obviously this is going to be a bit of a recap of Marysville as well, but then we're going to talk about recovery in context to Marysville, using through the lens of Marysville. So, you know, I went out with two other guys. I'm going to sit through whatever. You know, they're nice guys and we chatted for the first few Ks, but then, you know, we all wanted to run our own race, which is what I wanted to do. I did not want to, and you know, they're lovely guys. So I got the feeling that they wanted to make sure that I felt safe running through the night.
Because it was 11 o'clock when you started.
It was 11 o'clock when we started, and I knew that they would be a little bit concerned for me because they are good people, you know, and we were going out on remote call. And it's not like when you go with a normal race where there's lots of people in front of you, lots of people behind you, and there's kind of safety in that, even if you're on your own. But, you know, but I made it quite clear to them that they, you know, I was fine. I didn't need, you know, I didn't expect anyone to look after me, like I you know, or to, you know, be worried about me, which they were really good, you know, like they're lovely guys, both of them. But I wanted them to be clear on that. And I was fine. So I went off on my own. One guy, well, both ahead for a while, and then I caught up to David when he was having a crew meet, you know, crew catch up with his wife. And yeah, so I paced it. I went hard, obviously, because you're racing, but not hard. So
interestingly, though, even though all three of you were doing your separate thing, you still got to the 50K mark within 5 minutes of one another.
It's funny, isn't it?
Not together, but
you couldn't see. I mean, I would look ahead. I couldn't see Jason. Look behind. I couldn't see David. And I passed a guy, you know, about 9Ks before the finish. I passed a guy who'd started an hour before me.
For the 50
before the 50, not the finish. Oh dear, not the finish. You know, and so I went out. So the first hill that we ran up, I got all PBs up that on Strava because I've run it before in training. So I went out harder than training, obviously, which you want to. It's 100K, but I still didn't go out as if it was a park run. I still felt very controlled and fine, absolutely fine. And you always will. This is the difficulty. If you do the right thing and you taper and you carb load, you feel super fresh. And so everyone races off like a headless chook. You should not be feeling like you're redlining it at all, that you're getting your heart rate really high in the first bit, unless you're actually going for the win, then perhaps. But it did not feel like that for me at all. Although I was going faster than training, I could tell my heart rate was fine. And this is why you need to check your effort during training related to heart rate and all that, but not use heart rate or pace to guide you in racing. You can't. You can't. I mean, starting at 11 o'clock at night, my heart rate's always going to be different to when I start a training run at 7 in the morning.
Yeah,
you know.
that's right.
So you can't relate them.
And I was waiting for you at the, say, 12K mark,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
breezed past me. You didn't, I don't think you even stopped. You just
No,
said
no.
hello, gave me a kiss,
Yeah,
and kept on going.
yeah. I didn't really need anything. It was
Yeah,
kind of a bit of a waste for you
yeah,
to come there, but it was nice. It
yeah.
was nice. And then even at the 23K mark, well, you gave me
I
water.
topped up your water, and I might have given you some extra gels, I think,
Yeah,
possibly.
yeah, I think some
I
extra
think.
gels
Yeah,
and pouches and that.
yeah,
And you know, this Marysville race, it's, you know, it starts at night. Everyone goes in different groups according to what they think their finish time of the first 50K will be. You're meant to be self-sufficient. There is aid stations, as in there's a water canister.
yeah. I think it was just a water dump.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah, it was just a water dump, which is fine. I didn't, you know, I had Ron and I could have managed it on my own. I mean, we've done the 50K run there on our own.
Yeah,
But it was just nice to not have to carry everything. And I was a little concerned, you know, that it wasn't going to be well marked and that I would make, that's why we
yeah,
practiced it, you know, people will know that. But honestly, Brett Saxon had marked that amazingly. And the markers he used were so reflective. You could see them from nearly a kilometre away if you had a line of sight. It was awesome. Like
yeah.
I wasn't nervous about where I was going at any stage. The whole time I was 100% confident. I've done plenty of races that claim to be well marked that were not as well marked
Yeah,
as that.
yeah.
So kudos to Brett. And if you've been thinking about doing the Marysville 100K, but you're worried because all the first 50K is in the dark and it's not well marked, well, let me assure you, it is really well marked, and it would be great to see more people doing it. It's a local 100K.
Yeah.
Like, it's so close. Melbourneites, get on it.
It took us, I mean, we are in the eastern suburbs, but it took us an hour and a quarter to get
Yeah.
there. So,
And
yeah.
and it's supporting a really good cause, you know, from the bushfires and all that sort of stuff. So I mean, honestly, it's one of the closest 100Ks we've got, like, within the area, without having to drive out to Bright or to the high country or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, so honestly, give it a crack. Anyway, so
Yeah, you got into the 50K mark. You're
an hour
all
ahead
three
of
of you were pretty
plan.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, but an hour ahead of what, not that we had any great expectations. You know, we had an idea that you would probably be fairly close to 7 hours on that first
Yeah.
one.
I mean, we normally did it in just under 7 hours
Yeah.
watch time, you know, but I'd always stop my watch to go to
Yeah.
the loo or whatever. So I did it in 7 hours. So basically the same speed.
Yeah.
But considering, I was just not sure whether it would be different in the dark, whether
Yeah.
I'd be a bit slower in the dark.
That's right.
But obviously I wasn't. Well, maybe I maybe was. I don't know, whatever. I did it in 7 hours, but I was pacing myself for 100K instead of 50K.
Yeah.
So I just wasn't sure. So I wasn't sure, you know, if I'd come in at 6:30, that would have, if I'd gone the later hour, then that would have been 7:30.
Yeah.
So anyway, so came through at 6 and caught Ron a little bit.
Caught me very on the hop. Like, I was expecting in my mind that you were going to come through around 6:30ish. So I had kind of timed, because I had a nap in the car, but I still had to, because I was going to be doing the second 50K with you. So I still had to get myself ready, get some stuff for you to change over ready.
I did message him, people. Don't worry. I messaged him at by 5, just before 5.
Like 2 minutes before my alarm was due to go off from my nap.
See, before 5.
Yeah. And I was parked near the finish, or near the, you know, start finish area, but not right at it.
Yeah.
So my idea was that I was going to, you know, fill up a bag and then take it to the start finish line for Isabel. And then I but I still had to have breakfast myself and have a bit of a coffee and go and register and pick up my bib and everything like that.
And I messaged him with 2Ks to go, going 2Ks, because I knew he'd need the little, you know.
And 2Ks, and I hadn't, you know, I wasn't ready myself at all. Like, I hadn't even changed.
I come into the start line, and Jason's like, oh, do you want some Coke? I'm like, no, I'm waiting for Ron, but where's Ron? And he's like, where's Ron?
Yeah, so I was frantic trying to get everything, you know,
that it didn't matter,
ready. But so, you know, I called her over. I don't know if you came all the way to the car.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did, yeah. So you came up to the car.
Because I also went to the toilet. And,
that's right. And
and I was in a t-shirt, and I was going to put a singlet on them, but it was still a bit chilly. because it was still quite early. So,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't get changed. But then I just trotted off and went off on the course because I wasn't going super
Yeah.
fast.
And I just had to put stuff away and lock the
Yeah,
car up
yeah.
and all
And
that
then
sort
he
of
ran,
stuff.
sprinted,
Yeah.
because even you said it took me a bit to catch
Yeah,
me.
you were further than I thought.
Yeah, yeah. Because I was still moving really well and I was
Yeah.
running, you know, up the hills. I was hiking fast. I was still running the
Yeah.
domes and the flats, and
So
you know,
I think I caught you after about a kilometre.
yeah,
So
yeah. And I'd stopped a couple of times and looked, going,
yeah.
"What the fuck? Have I gone the wrong way?" Because I would have thought he'd caught me
Yeah.
by now. Anyway, so yeah, so we went off and we did the 50K, and
And you were still like moving really well, having no issues.
mm,
There was the next steep climb,
yeah.
which was from about the 15K to the 18K. No, well, no, it was about a kilometre long. So it was about the
Oh,
15K
yeah,
mark.
yeah, that steep one, that was
That
horrible.
steep climb. Um,
That's where we caught the
yeah,
girl
so that was where we
who had
caught.
started 2 hours before me.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we caught
yeah,
her right at the top,
yeah.
and then there was nice flat or mostly flattish,
Undulating,
undulating
I would
out
not
and
call it
back,
flat. Yep. And then, you
which is
know,
really good for seeing other competitors, seeing where you're
yeah,
at, seeing where everyone else is
it's
at.
just nice to say hi to
Yeah,
people and all that sort of stuff. It
yeah,
was kind of cool having all the
that's
50Kers
right.
run past us
That's
going,
right.
"Oh, good on you, good job." And, you know,
Yeah, we had a lot of the front running 50Ks
mm,
blow past us.
oh my
One
God,
or two of them were running up that steep hill.
that I was groveling up with my poles. Yes, but,
Yeah,
you know, I had 50,
yeah, six,
60Ks
yeah,
and 65Ks in my legs by that stage. They had 5. So
yeah,
15, bit
yeah.
different. Anyway, so yeah, we don't need to give
No,
complete rundown of the race.
yeah,
Then you know, anyway, so we got it done. I got
mm,
finished in 14 hours and 48 minutes. Um, I had a bit of a point where I decided to slow down a bit because I was getting a little bit overcooked, and
yeah,
I just slowed down for a bit, added in a bit of extra walking, and then picked up my effort again. Not necessarily pace, but effort.
yeah, yeah,
And anyway, and we got it done
yeah,
running into the finish. My feet were really sore, but
mm,
we're running into the finish. And it was great. It was really good.
yeah,
And but so then recovery. Obviously, I didn't feel like eating straight away. But by the same token, when we went to the bakery, I got a sandwich and I
yeah.
nibbled on that. And you had, you know, your usual
My usual
pie.
pie,
Oh, you
two
had 2
pies.
pies. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then, you know, we got home and all that, but then I didn't sleep well
mm,
that night. I never sleep well after race, even though I finished by, you know, 10 to 2 in the afternoon. Even by bedtime, you're kind of wired, you know,
yeah,
you're just, you know, because you've been on the go for so long, you know, it's really hard to switch that off. So I didn't sleep well that night. So that was basically 2 full nights with no sleep.
yeah.
Um, so
So
yeah,
by Monday you were,
fucked.
yeah. But um, I know you didn't have to work. It was Tuesday you worked,
Yeah,
wasn't it? Yeah.
Tuesday I worked.
So
But I still work just because
no,
I
no, yeah.
don't have to work. I still
When I say
work.
work, I mean having to
I
front up to the school
No,
and
yeah,
work.
and deal with recalcitrant teenagers.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I worked from home that
yeah,
day on Monday. And I've just been, I mean, it's Friday now and I am super tired. But also I've had a bit of an allergy thing on my arm, and it's now this week completely covered my whole left arm, which also has meant I haven't slept well at night because I'm scritching and a scratching.
yeah,
And you know, and I'm on all these antihistamines that make me feel like a bag of shit too. So it's been an awesome week. Last night I went to bed at 7:30.
yeah.
We went to bed at 7.
So yeah,
I went to sleep at 7:30, and you know the alarm went off at 5ish. So you know,
mm,
and I felt better this morning. I'm feeling pretty tired by now after working all day at
yeah,
school. And you know, you're on your feet the whole day, and you know, it's hard. But basically, recovery after 100K. Now, a lot of people really want to get back into it, and you know, because they're feeling good, they're on a high, they did really well, or they did really shit, so they want to make up for it, and they've got to better get back into training so that they don't do shit again.
yeah.
Do you know what? You need to recover, whether you did good, bad, or indifferent. You need to A, recover from the race, and B, recover from the training block.
That's right.
Okay, because even if you're DNF'd at 70K, you need to recover from the training block. It's been intense physically and mentally. cut yourself some slack. You're a human being. You're not a robot. Rest. It's
That's
not
right.
a dirty word.
And even if you didn't, some people do a 100K race and they don't have DOMs, perhaps
I did.
perhaps they could have gone a little bit harder.
Yes, but to potentially use
But
that as a sign that next time you could go harder in the race.
but that doesn't mean there isn't damage.
Yeah, just because you can't feel it
Yeah.
does not mean there is not damage. There is
Mm.
invisible damage that you cannot see. That's why it's invisible.
Yeah.
Muscle tears,
Yeah.
inflammation in the body, all
Joints,
sorts of
yeah.
things, joints, everything. Don't just think you can just get back into it, because I feel good. I've had people all the time, I hear, not my athletes because they know, but I hear other people going, oh, I feel really good, so I'm just straight back into training. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh.
And
And
2 weeks later, they're knocking out a marathon.
or 2 months later, they're going, I don't understand why I've plateaued, why I'm just
Yeah.
not getting any better. Because you're exhausted,
Yeah.
because you didn't recover. Why? Like, I'm totally against over racing, and people go, well, then why did you do those 100Ks every month? Well, to teach myself a lesson, clearly,
Yeah.
because it really brought home to me how bad over racing is. But then people go, oh, but I'm just doing it for fun. I'm telling you, no, that ain't fun.
No.
Dragging yourself around a course slow as fuck.
If you want to do it for fun, train properly and prepare
Yeah,
properly.
that's fun. Pushing it was fun. But when you're so exhausted that you can't even push it. And when I'm saying slow as fuck, I'm not trying to denigrate people who go slower or faster or whatever. What I'm meaning is slower than what you are capable of.
And way slower than how you planned to.
Yeah, if you could perhaps go way faster if you didn't race as much, if you recovered better. And I'm not saying, oh, but then some people say to me, oh, but I don't want to go fast. I just love really, you enjoy being in misery. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand it. The goal of racing is not to be miserable. I had moments where I was tired, where my feet were really sore. I was practically crying that last downhill. And I was exhausted. And I would say to you, oh, I'm just going through
Yeah.
a bit of a moment, but I knew it would pass. But in general, I had a great time and I really enjoyed it. But when you're in misery the whole way, like some of those 100Ks that I was doing, I did not enjoy even 1 minute of it. It was horrible. So I just don't understand when people go, oh, but I don't, I just want to race. I just want to race all the time. That's being captive to FOMO or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let your body recover. We looked it up, and it was, you should recover, and it's in mileage, a day for every 10 miles. So for 100 miler, you should take a full 10 days off, is what they're saying. And we were, equating that to the 100K, that would be 6 full days off. But it said for a maintenance race, it should be 1 day for every 6 miles.
Which makes it a 10 day
for 100Ks if you've done one in the maintenance. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you need to respect your body, and thank it, and the way you thank it is let it rest, eat really nutritious, delicious, awesome food, and rest and recovery. And sure, do some cross training.
So what have you done this week?
Well, I've done 2 yoga classes and I've been for a walk.
Yeah.
Admittedly, when I go to school and work, like, today I've done nearly 8,000 steps just at work, right? So, and I did about the same the other day, about 8 or 9,000 steps, and that's just at work. So, I'm getting some movement there.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we're going to go for a mountain bike ride, and I'll probably run by next week. That was the plan.
And we're going to do some cross training tomorrow afternoon.
That's right.
We'll be exercising our elbow.
Yes, we're going to go to a winery. Do things like that. Do something nice. Not that running isn't nice. It's nice. It's lovely. And I'm going to probably go for, like, I think on Monday, a 6K run. So that's only 7 days recovery. But I think, well, that's what it said, about 6 days. But that was for maintenance 10. So 7 days. Because it was maintenance, but it wasn't super maintenance. No. It was like 3,500 meters.
Funny. It felt mountainous mainly because it was 4 main climbs and then undulations.
And undulations. Oh my God, that's
it's not like in the high country where you're either going up or you're going down.
Yeah.
Around Marysville, you're doing a lot of undulation between going up steep and going down steep.
And they were steep. So Brett managed to find the good steep climbs.
Yeah.
you know, and then so I'll do that next week. Probably won't run every day. I'll slot in some mountain biking and some yoga, and
Mhm.
you know, we'll head back to gym, but just
Yeah.
kind of
So we haven't been to the gym this week.
no
right?
gym this week. No, because my muscles don't need that stress.
Yeah.
That's how I will injure myself or wreck a tendon or wreck a ligament or something like that. Like everything is inflamed and is worked and under, you know, under
Yeah.
stress. So, you know, that's what I'm doing there, and back to running next week. But like I said, it'll be pretty low Ks. Won't be anything earth shattering because also, well, actually, in saying that, yeah, but I'm pacing at Coast to Cozzie's. So I might do a fair few Ks there, but it's going to be walking.
That's right.
It's
It'll
going to
be
be walking,
low
low impact.
impact, low
It's
effort.
just going to be through the night.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's going to be another getting used to no sleep. So anyway, but you know, we do these things because we love our friends and we want to help people and we
That's
love being
right.
part of the community. Normally I wouldn't do that, but it's not going to be running. It's not like I'm running 100 Ks or something like that. I'll be walking it. And because I think I'm doing the bulk of the pacing.
Right.
Right. So so I was going to say, everybody, you can look at my mileage and see that I'm not telling a lie.
Just look at everything except until next Saturday.
Yeah, oh my God. Oh.
After next Saturday, all bets are off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's pacing Coast to Cosy. That's fine.
So what other sports? What are a couple of sports people could do?
Some people are
instead?
swimmers. You
Yep.
know, you're a swimmer.
Yep.
Me, I'm a droner. I'm a flap my arms around
Yeah.
and
I haven't,
Actually, I
been swimming
can
in
swim.
quite a while now, but when I was carrying bad ankle injuries, I did hit the pool quite hard.
Yeah.
I just got sick of always having a blocked nose like chlorine sneezes.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, but you could do that. What did you do today too?
Oh, yes, I went out and played golf.
Yeah, go play some golf.
Yeah.
Go do something different. I wouldn't mind doing some bouldering again, you know. Go and try those sports that aren't going to injure you,
To
right?
be fair, though, bouldering is pretty hard on the muscles.
It's hard on the
On the
forearms.
yeah, that's
you know,
right.
like
And the hands, fingers.
yeah, and I don't work them that much
Yeah.
when I'm racing, when
Yeah.
I'm running.
Although you did,
I did. I was getting hand cramps from
Yeah.
holding the poles.
yeah,
I don't know why I've never had hand cramps from holding the poles before, but I was. I think because my hands were so sweaty.
yeah,
I don't know what it was. It was very odd. Hand cramps. Who knew that was a thing? Um, and you know, so there's yoga, there's swimming, there's bikes, you know, it doesn't have to be mountain bike, you could be on a, or I used to also go and do spin classes back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many golf, there's so many different things you can do that you shouldn't feel deprived that you're not running. Like, be a well-rounded human being, be a well-rounded athlete. You don't have to just run, do some different things. You know, it's kind of like, oh, but I have to run. You know, well, try something else. Try something
Yeah.
else. It's
You
fun
never-
to try
you
other
just
sports.
never
You never know. You know, because then what happens if you ever do get injured? What is running all you can do? You
Yeah.
cannot possibly do anything else. If I'd had that mindset when I'd gotten injured back in the day, I'd have lost all my fitness. Instead, I always kept my fitness because I cross-trained. And so
Yeah.
you need to have other athletic activities and abilities in your arsenal as well. And just when it comes to after a race, please, I just beg of you to recover.
Yeah.
Honestly, give yourself a chance physically and mentally.
You will not lose,
In 10 days, 10 to 14 days, you're not going to lose all your fitness and you're not going to turn into a fatty boomba, although I do feel like that.
Not what you can't get back
quickly
afterwards.
Yeah. I'm not worried about losing any fitness. Absolutely not.
Because it's even if you did run this week, the quality of that running would be terrible.
I know, because I did it after those 100K races, you know.
So you wouldn't be gaining anything. And certainly now, once you've rested and you start training, the quality of training is so much better that you're actually going to get fitter.
That's right.
The outcome will be a lot better because your training will be a lot.
And very good point, Coach Ron. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
As you all know, Ron is a coach. No, and it's true. The quality of your runs is just going to be crap anyway, and you're going to be causing more damage, like I said, which potentially lead to further injury in a couple of weeks or months. wait, let your body recover, and then your quality will be so much better.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm not going to be doing any speed work next week. You know, I might pick it up a little bit, but I'm not going to be doing any formal speed work. Just taking it easy and just having fun with sort of unstructured training and not feeling obliged to hit any mileage metrics.
Yeah.
You know, just doing what I feel like. And if I'm tired, then I'll cut it and come home, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think by next week I'll be feeling fine. I think part of this tiredness is with all the drugs I'm on for my allergy as well. Yeah, but that's pretty much it.
So,
Any other
and
thoughts?
just nap. Like,
Yeah,
if you,
I was having lots of naps.
Yeah, if you feel the need, and obviously not everyone can nap because they're at work. Like
Rat's ass. I used to nap at work.
maybe settle yourself into a nice quiet
I used to put my head down on my desk, have a little bit of a kip.
But don't be afraid to nap and get to
because
bed
like on
early and get some
Tuesday,
good
I
night's
got
sleep.
home from school, had a quick little nap, got up and did my coaching calls with my athletes, you know, because you know, otherwise I'm not giving my athletes their best. So I needed to have a nap. If you want to be once again productive at work, you know, having a little nap, you know, find a little spot, have a little nap, you know, and yeah, I mean, it's hard, you know, even if you won't go to the car, maybe, I don't know. It's a tough one when you're at work, but I just find I wasn't really, I kind of go off coffee after a race too. So I couldn't really drink coffee. I still haven't had my full 3 coffees today. I know.
That's probably also part of why you're so tired.
It is,
your caffeine intake has gone down.
Right down this week. Yep. Yeah. And probably didn't help that I went out for champagne with a girlfriend on Monday night.
That's right.
I go into that.
That's cross training as well.
Yeah, but really don't drink too much alcohol either. That's not good. That does not help with recovery, let me assure you. Yes. I mean, I didn't actually drink a lot really, but I think it just hit me hard because
you were undernourished. Like you hadn't been eating
I mean, I've been eating, but you can never eat enough.
No, that's right.
You know?
And tired. You were
Yes.
tired.
It was not the same day as the race finished.
No.
It was Monday that I did that. People don't freak out. But I know some people like to have a few beers after a race, and it's probably not the best idea.
No.
But yes, recover. It is, you know, one of the disciplines of ultramarathon running. You know, you've got to respect it. It's part of the training. It's the training that prepares you for the training.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the benefits of being rested far outweigh the benefits of continuing your training.
Yes, that's right. And like I said, even if you didn't do what you wanted in the race and you feel like you didn't achieve your goals, still rest.
And focus. And 9 times, quite often the reason if you've put in the training, which, you know, we're going to assume you have, and you still don't get the result in a race, perhaps you need to look at how you've approached like the lead up to the race, you know, the tapering,
where you recovered enough.
Yeah, where you recovered enough. Did you carbo load? Have you been eating enough getting enough protein? You know, maybe, you know,
use that time to assess and learn.
That's right.
Yeah. And even for me achieving what I wanted to do, I wanted to do about 14 and a half hours. I didn't. I did 14:48.
Yeah.
But then during it towards the end, I said, all right, I'm going to at least go sub 15.
Yeah. And it was actually looking quite good for a while there to get
just that last
14,
hill.
but then there was that last hill, which would have been at about between
12Ks
85 to 90.
Yeah.
8Ks, 85 to 90. There was a really solid hill, which it was it was pretty hard.
Yeah.
It was quite warm by that stage.
It was quite warm.
And they had music pumping at an aid station at the very top of the hill, and you could hear that for like 3Ks.
It was like, for the love of God, is it ever going to get there?
Not getting any closer.
No.
And you could hear it, but you couldn't see it.
I know a few people who lost their mojo up that hill. And then I would have run the downhill fast, but my feet were so freaking sore. That I couldn't. My legs were okay to run faster, but my feet were not. Anyway, but I still, you know, I'm still really happy with it. Originally, when I went in, to be fair, my goal was about 15 or so hours. But as I was going, I was thinking, I reckon I could do 14 and a half.
Yeah.
But yeah, it ended up being
But
40.
also, you know, just for people who are into that sort of thing, you know, if you want to look at her 250K splits, her first one was 7 hours. Your
Yeah.
second one was
7:48,
7:45
and
or
then
48. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's pretty close.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you want.
When you consider I'd been up all night,
Yeah.
you know, it's not like it started in the morning and you're running into the night. That was, you know, the second
Yeah.
50K after a full night of being awake.
Yeah.
So I think that's
So,
pretty good.
Yeah, that's what you call maintaining the effort.
Yeah.
And you certainly weren't taking it easy at any
No,
point.
no.
You worked hard.
Yeah, I worked hard. I worked hard that
So,
whole race.
yeah.
Yeah. And I'm proud of that. And that's what I'm proud of. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't really going for any specific time because it kept changing on the fly, you know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, I wanted to finish it knowing that I'd given my best effort. That was my
Yeah.
goal.
And that was one of the reasons why I didn't do the full 100 with you, because I knew that you wanted to put in, you know,
Yeah.
a big effort. And for me, once we get to that 75 to 80 kilometer
He
mark,
does tend to slow down.
I slow right down, and then you just, you know, I'm holding you back, and I can
Yeah.
see that you want to keep going, and I just can't. So I didn't
Yeah.
want to hold you back on that last little bit,
Yeah.
and so that was why I was happy just to, you know, join you fresh for the final 50K.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was really good. That was
Yeah.
actually a really good way to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so recovery time now, and then I will start training again at some point for a race.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so you've got your next organised race so far in May, but I dare say we'll probably try and squeeze another race of some kind in between here and there.
Maybe.
We're not quite sure yet, because
well, you never know.
Things have been put in place.
Oh.
We're just waiting for them to fall into place finally.
So figure that out as you will,
Yep.
people. Yes. So yes, we've got the Isle of Skye Ultra in Scotland.
Yep. In May.
And
which is going to be a pretty tough race in itself.
Yes, that's why I wanted to get 100K done this year. To
many different
give
reasons.
me confidence.
First of all, it's very remote by the looks of it.
Well, not that, because they were running through towns when we watched it on YouTube. Villages,
I guess just like,
but it's on an
village,
isle. Yeah, it's not little villages, like little.
Being in Scotland, it could be wet
and cold and miserable.
Yes, wet and cold. Two
things
you're almost guaranteed of in Scotland.
Yeah, well, luckily we come from Melbourne.
Yeah. But they do it a little bit differently in Scotland, the wet and the cold.
Oh, yes. I know.
But it certainly looks spectacular.
Yes.
Like, it's going to be a spectacular.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome event. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. And yes, so that's the next official race that I've got planned.
Yes.
And yes, we shall keep you posted on all other news right here on the Peak Endurance podcast.
That's right. So everyone just keep in mind, you know, you've really got to focus on your recovery after you've done a race. And, you know, that's really the kickstart.
It's like, you know, you have your blocks. You've got your base training, your, you know, all your different blocks. Your recovery block is a block too. Yeah. It's actually a block of your training.
Yeah.
So value it as much as you do your base and your quality, your speed, you know, your short interval block and your tempo block and all that sort of stuff. Just honor it in the same fashion.
Yep.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go now and I don't know, maybe go for a walk, but we'll see, because I want to put this podcast out.
Yeah.
All righty. Have a great one, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We do appreciate you. And you know how you could show us that you actually appreciate us putting in the work for this podcast? You could rate and review.
Oh, also on that note, we did actually get someone I think it was at the finish when we were sitting there waiting.
Barb?
I can't remember who it was, but someone spoke to us and said they love listening to us, and you know,
I was a bit out of it.
But I wasn't thinking quick enough to say, well, what's your name?
I'm
hello
sure,
to that person.
No, because I know her. I'm sure.
Well, I didn't know her, so so hello to that person, and thank you for mentioning it to us. We do love to hear that, and I'm sorry I didn't catch your name.
Yes, but all good. And give the Marysville Marathon 100K a try next year, everybody. Like, really, and you know, a relatively cheap 100K that's local to Melbourne people. and supporting a great
And
community.
just a different way of doing it too.
Yeah,
Like,
it was different. I was
yeah.
a little bit nervous, and I was, to be honest, a little bit dready of it.
Yeah.
But it actually turned out to be really good, because that section of the race, that first 50K, when it's during the day, it's really open and really fucking hot, and
Yeah.
there's lots of snakes. But
Snakes.
that time of night, cool, no snakes, really cool. It was actually really nice doing it that way. Because the second half, it's a lot more shaded.
Yeah. Still as many snakes though.
Not as many. I only saw 2.
You only saw 2, but you almost stood
One
one
that
of them.
nearly bit me. It had its
Yeah.
head up, and it was like fair income, 4 centimeters from my
Yeah.
ankle.
When it put its head back down, it put its head down where your foot was.
Yeah. Scary
So,
stuff,
yeah.
but you know.
Yep.
No.
And I'm pretty sure that was a brown too, so they're pretty poisonous.
Don't know. I was,
Yeah.
I was running downhill, and I'd stopped because I went, "Oh!"
Yeah.
Yeah. All righty.
All right.
Enough of that. We don't want to put people off the
No,
race.
no. So just carry your snake
You
bandages.
just carry a
people.
snake
Carry your
bag.
snake
You're not
bandages.
gonna. It's you're so close to civilization. I was
That's
about to
right.
say you're not going to die, but I don't want to guarantee
Well,
anything.
People in Australia,
People don't die from it.
No. Very rarely do you get people dying from snake bites in Australia anymore,
Yeah.
because the anti-venoms are so.
Yeah, I mean, as long as
Good.
you do the sensible thing,
That's
snake
right.
bandage, and then get some help. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not like super remote. It would have
Yeah.
been easy to get someone into,
That's
so
right.
I wouldn't have died.
No. Wouldn't have been pleasant, but you wouldn't have died.
No, but I wouldn't have died. No. All righty. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and just recover like a pro.
That's
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Catch you next time.
Bye-bye.